Okay, so Firefly is going to bring some crazy new mechanics to Honkai Star Rail. First off, in this video, we're going to go over her kit, but just at a very high level, not very super specific, not until the actual live stream comes out because her kit is still in a place that can be changed drastically. So again, very early kit details. Things will probably 100% change. Just really general sense and some gameplay thoughts and ideas. So as already revealed, she is going to be a 5-star fire destruction character whose whole gimmick is going to be a break effect, very similar to the likes of Boot Hill. So first off, her mechanics, it's not really unique, but it's kind of unique. It's very similar to Jinglu. She's got two states, a base state that I'll call Firefly mode, and then an enhanced state called Combustion mode, aka the SAM Gundam Omega Mecha mode. She gets some very flashy animations and gains these transient looking wings. It's pretty fire. But just like Jinglu, it's kind of similar in that sense that she gets a ton of buffs while in this, and it's your absolute priority to get into this mode as quickly as possible and to stay in that mode for as long as possible. But anyway, before you get into that mode, her base state, her Firefly mode, is very generic and, to be frank, is not very strong at all, so you don't want to be spending any time in this. She's got a basic attack, she's got a skill. There's really nothing to write home about any of these things. Her basic attack just deals fire damage. And then her skill is how you get into her ultimate, her combustion state. And basically what it does is that it generates 60% of her maximum energy, right? Generally characters generate just flat 30 energy, but for Firefly, she generates 60% of her energy. And this is really important because her energy cost is 240. It's absolutely massive. And there's probably a very good reason for this. That reason being that MiHoYo doesn't want you to kind of cheat her ultimate state. They very deliberately gave her a cooldown on her combustion state. So basically, since her ult is 240 cost, there's not going to be a really good way to get into her ultimate state. So killing enemies or trying to cheat your way with Ting Yun or Ho-Ho is not going to be possible or very efficient because it's just too high of an energy. So that's why it requires you to use 2 skills in order to enter the state. Now, while in her base form, it also takes away 40% of her maximum HP. So there are some synergies with some light cones and relic sets, but even though we say that, her signature light cone is most her best suited light cone, and Fall of the Eon is going to be her next best free-to-play option. And probably for 4 stars, maybe Secret Vow might work because of this HP draining, but then when she's in her ultimate mode, she restores HP, so maybe not. But definitely right now, Fall of the Eon and her signature are going to be her go-tos, obviously. She also gets her own personal relic set and planar ornament set. So if you're planning to go for Firefly, there's no reason to start farming relics for her because, yeah, in the new patch, you'll want to farm the new ones. And then lastly, when she uses the skill, she gets her action advanced by 25%. Action advancement is absolutely huge. Like, to be honest, it's really, really good. This basically just allows her to get into her ultimate faster. So just super solid. Even though there is a downtime, MiHoYo is basically kind of trying to cut it down so that it's not too crazy. So overall, just a really good skill to help her get into the ultimate. And it's absolutely required to get into her ultimate. There's definitely not a good way to cheat your way into the ultimate. So other than those 3 things, that's pretty much all her skill does. Also, the scaling on it is kind of average. It's really not going to be doing much damage in the base state. And to be honest, it's actually going to be pretty pitiful. You'll probably see that in showcases or when she finally releases it. But anyway, now we're in the combustion state. We have enough energy. We pop the ult. What happened? Well, she gets access to enhanced basic attacks and enhanced skills. Basic attacks, we don't really care about that. We really just care about her enhanced skill. But also, like Jinglu, she gets her action advance forward by 100%. So she immediately gets a turn after ulting. Just really solid, really good, just like Jinglu, just helps to output some good damage. It should be noted though, unlike Jinglu, her ultimate actually does damage. Firefly's does not. It is just an enhanced type ultimate. So anyway, in addition to enhanced skills, she also has her speed increased by quite a lot. I believe at maximum she gets 75 speed, but at around level 10, it's 60 speed. She has a base speed of 104, so she hits 164 speed. That's a lot of speed. And speed is going to be really important for her ultimate because we want to try to get as many actions as we can before she reverts back to normal Firefly mode. So additionally, while in this mode, her weakness break efficiency increases by 50% and also increases the break damage enemy targets receive by 20%. So you can kind of see, right, her damage is definitely being based around break effect. See that even more with her traces and her skill. So weakness break efficiency increased by 50% is pretty good. You combine that with Ron May and you have even more weakness break efficiency, and you're just breaking enemies left and right. You're breaking small mob enemies in 1 hit, and then you're breaking elite type enemies in maybe like 2 hits, maybe 3. And then bosses, yeah, 3, maybe 4, but probably around 3. And then kind of like how Robin works, if you have Robin, there is a new entity that shows up on the action order. The complete combustion state is what it's called. So that appears on the action order and it has a fixed speed of 70. And when it reaches its turn, that's when Sam exits the complete combustion mode and goes back to regular Firefly mode. So we want to be able to get as many actions as possible before the turn for the complete combustion state gets its turn. So with a fixed speed of 70, we can do very simple math. In order to get 3 actions, we need a speed of 210. 2 actions is 140. 4 actions is 280. 280 speed is quite a lot, so we probably won't be reaching that unless we have a lot of buffs. If you are in SU, you could probably reach that, but otherwise, you're probably not going to reach that. So for content like MOC and Pure Fiction, we're going to try to hit the 210 speed mark. That is most likely very possible. So we get the 60 speed at talent level 10, 104 base speed, so we're at 164, add in some speed boots, and then some substats, and you should be able to hit 210. This gives us, again, 3 extra turns, and then if you count the 100% action forward advancement, that's 4 actions before she reverts back to normal Firefly state. So 4 actions of her enhanced skill. It's good. It's pretty good because her skills, it's strong. So let's go to that, right? So firstly, she's break effect focused. So the weakness break on this is 90 to the target, 45 to adjacent targets. This is a blast type attack indeed. And with 50% increase, that's 90 plus 45, so that's 135 weakness break. And if you add a Ron May onto that, don't quote me, I'm actually not sure on this, but I think weakness break efficiency is additive, so you should get 100% weakness break efficiency if you have Ron May on the team, which means you have 180 weakness break to the target. And then the blast is 90 to adjacent targets. So that's a lot of weakness break. Yeah, you're 100% breaking whatever you want to break. And the way that this damage is calculated is that it's going to take a portion of your break effect that you build on Firefly and then add it to a base scaling. So for example, let's say Firefly has 360 break effect. I'm using 360 because 360 is a part of her core kit. That's like the cap where damage gets calculated. So let's say she has 360% break effect. The scaling on her skill becomes 20% of 360, which is 72%. And then you add that to 200. So at talent level 10, she's dealing about 272 scaling of her attack to the target enemy. And then to the blast enemies, it's half that. So the scaling on it is pretty good. If you multiply it by 4, it's about 1088% scaling to the target and then half to the adjacent, but that's really not where most of her damage comes. Most of her damage is going to come from breaking the enemy, so that initial break damage, and then super break damage. So let's go ahead and move on to that. So when Sam's break effect is 200% or 360%, when she attacks a weakness broken enemy, then she deals 1 instance of super break, that's 35% or 50% super break damage. So you kind of need to understand how Harmony Trailblazer works, but it's not a video about Harmony Trailblazer. You can check out some other videos about how super break works. There will probably be a video on my channel soon about how super break damage works, so you can wait around for that. But her kit has a built-in super break damage multiplier. And so you'll notice that a lot of her skills require at least 360% break effect, and she has another trace that helps build her break effect. So for every 100 of her attack that exceeds 1600, she increases her break effect by 10%. And there is no cap for this. Usually there is a cap, but in this case, there's none. So that's really interesting. There could be an argument where you build break effect just on your substats, and then you just build attack on your link rope and on your chest piece. Because Firefly is not a crit scaling character at all. She is all in on break effect. So that chest piece, we're not looking for crit rate or crit damage that we typically do with DPSs. You can just go with attack. And then those boots, we're going to go with speed to get as many actions as we can while in the combustion state. And then it's that rope where we could go break effect or we can go attack. And then for the orb, we're probably going to want fire damage, but there might be an argument to do attack. We definitely need to do the calculations, but there is potential there. We could just go all attack and just try to build up break effect as much as we can, and then just get damage bonuses from our teammates. Likewise, you can switch that around. You can go with a damage and then try to get an attack buff from. But as it stands right now, it seems like Ron May and Harmony Trailblazer are going to be her best teammates, and Ron May gives damage bonus. So that argument for that orb being attacked to also increase her break effect, I think has merit for it. But anyway, that's what it's looking like. She is 100% a break focused character. So here's the thing, when she's not dealing damage that is not super break damage or break effect damage, like when you actually break the bar, her damage is not that great. Let's be honest, it's really not that great, especially outside of combustion mode. Her damage is very much quite low. But once you get into that mode, that break damage, that super break damage is absolutely insane. And when you break enemies, right, you're also delaying their actions. And with Ron May, you further delay their actions. So they don't even get a chance to attack you. And they do, it's not going to be very often. You're going to kill them before they get to move. So that seems to be her gameplay design. No crit. It's focused on trying to break the enemy as fast as you can, and then dealing that super break damage while they're... And again, like I said, she's got relic sets that kind of help her damage while enemies are weakness broken, giving her some defense shred. But again, really, Firefly is based around break. Don't want to be going with crit. And for some reason, I think there are kind of two schools of thought right now. There are people that really don't like this design, and there are people that really do like this design. They don't like that her damage is so focused around break. They don't like that her damage is very low outside of break and super break damage. And then there's the other side that enjoys this, that a lot of the damage comes from the break and the super break. But again, you know, I think this is how Hoyoverse is designing the character, because it's going to get stale if we just have characters that are just based off of crit, right? We're building the same characters in the same way. There needs to be more variety. There needs to be more variety in the gameplay, and Firefly definitely brings that. Boot Hill also brings that because he's also a break character. But yeah, I think that Firefly is going to bring about a new type of gameplay, a break focused gameplay, and I think that's good for the game. It switches things up, makes it more fresh, and I think they're balancing it well, because they lower the damage outside of break, yes, but the damage when you do break is a lot more than your typical character. Now, I mentioned Harmony Trailblazer and Ron May, and again, those two characters benefit Firefly so much. And again, a lot of people don't like this, that she is tied so closely to these two characters. People really want Firefly to be generic, but being a break focused character, it's inevitable that Ron May is going to be one of her best supports along with the Harmony Trailblazer. Besides, there's a lore reason why Firefly and the Trailblazer should be together on the same team. So I don't know why people are angry about that. Well, okay, I can kind of understand why people anger about that, because it kind of limits their team options, because Firefly almost seems tied to Harmony Trailblazer, like almost like Harmony Trailblazer's kit is like an extension of Firefly's kit. But I digress, and I don't have a problem with that at all. Okay, and now we need to talk about two of her Eidolons. Her first two, because they're really, really good. Especially her E2, in my opinion, is absolutely crazy. So first off, her E1 is just that when she's using her enhanced skill, it ignores 15% of the target's defense, and she does not use skill points when she does the enhanced skill. That's absolutely crazy, to be honest, not using a skill point. But if you're using Ron May and Harmony Trailblazer in the team anyway, you'll be fine on skill points. So not as crazy as E2, but still pretty good. Okay, now her E2. When using her enhanced move to defeat an enemy or cause them to be weakness broken, she immediately gets one extra. There is a 1-turn cooldown on it, but regardless, just getting extra turns is absolutely... You bring this into, what's it called? Pure Fiction, and I think you're going to stay 100% in your combustion state the entire time. And maybe even in simulated universe modes, I think that, yeah, there's a good chance that you just stay in combustion mode for super long. And potentially even in MLC modes, if there are trash mobs, because you can easily break guys. You're going from 4 turns in combustion state to like 5 turns, 6 turns, maybe 7 turns. In my opinion, that E2 is absolutely crazy. Her other Eidolons are just attack increases, just more damage, and some effect res. So nothing too much to enhance her kit in terms of like gameplay reason. It's pretty much just those first two. More specifically, E2. Okay, now very briefly, the new relic set that's coming, it's going to increase break effect by 16%. And then if you reach 150% break effect or more, it ignores 10% of the enemy's defense when dealing break damage to them. Then if you get to 250, the super break damage they deal ignores 50% of the target's defense. So pretty good. And I believe that stacks. So super break damage could be 25% potentially. Not 100% sure on that. Don't quote me, but maybe you get 25% defense ignoring if you hit 250%, maybe. And then the other ornament set is 6% speed. And then when you hit enemy targets with fire weakness, the wearer's break effect increases by 40% for 1 turn. So, I mean, Firefly implants fire weakness, so you're always going to get an extra 40% break effect. So, that's really good, right? You want to try to hit 360, maybe even more. Like, there's no reason to there's no downside to having more than 360% break effect. So getting an extra 40% here is great. And then also 6% speed, also amazing, because we want to try to hit 210 speed to get those 4 actions while in combustion state. So anyway, that's kind of all I wanted to go over with Firefly for now. There's still a lot of information coming out for Firefly and a lot of potential calculations we can do around the super break damage and the break damage that Firefly can deal. So stick around for that, especially when this live stream comes. We'll do more in-depth videos. I'll be doing one of these for Jade as well, so keep an eye out for that. But until next time, I'll see you guys in the next one.